Yo, what's going on, you guys? The Four Fills back here, another YouTube video. And I know it's been a while, man. It's been about 2 weeks since my last upload, isn't it? So my bad for that. But I didn't want to just put out any content. You know, I didn't want to put out content that you guys weren't really interested in, or I didn't think was really good or anything. I want to put out some sort of quality content that could actually help you guys or be entertaining in some form, some way, shape, or form, right? So I'm back though. I'm back with a brand new series. I've been seeing you guys YouTube comments on a lot of my videos. Appreciate everyone that comments as well. And I really appreciate people sharing and liking the videos as well. It really helps. We're pretty close to 2K subscribers, 2,000 subscribers. So if you're new to the channel, you don't want to help out. If you've been watching my videos for the past week, 2 weeks, few days, doesn't really matter. If you've been watching my videos in general and you enjoy the content, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. We're about to hit 2,000 subscribers pretty soon. And yeah, man, let's make the push. Now, like I said, I've been watching a lot of you guys' comments. I've been replying to some of you guys' comments, liking the comments. And I thought I should make a new series here for the YouTube. We're about to start doing the Nina matchup guide. What we're going to do, I'm going to be going through all of the Nina matchups one by one. And today we're going to be starting with Kazuya Mishima. All right. So yeah, let's get straight into it, man. By the end of the series, we'll have finished all the characters as I learned them myself, right? So I'm not going to give you guys nonsense. I'm not going to give you guys a character matchup guide if I myself don't understand anything about the matchup. So this is as I'm learning myself. Very familiar with Kazuya now. So this is a character most people know how to fight since he's, you know, a very popular character. And yeah, let's start off with Kazuya. And I'll tell you guys what I learned, what I know about the matchup, and how you guys can improve in the matchup with Nina Williams. Let's get straight into it, man. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is offense with Nina. Your offense with Nina is very important in this matchup because there's certain things you should and shouldn't do or abuse. So first thing I want to talk about is your lows. Now, the most common low Nina players use is down back 3, this one here. Now, this is -13, and then she has down 2. This is -12. And of course, she also has down back 3 plus 4. Or you can do the full crouch version with 4, which is quicker. And they're all at -37, right? So that's very punishable. The reason why I'm highlighting this is because against Kazuya specifically, using down back 3 is very risky because Kazuya has a 13 frame launcher. So let me show you guys what that looks like in the training mode. All right, so I'm actually gonna select Kazuya to demonstrate this because it's a bit weird in the training mode. Here we go. So if I set Nina to do down back 3 and then block, so she does, do that again. Down back 3, down back 3, and then just block. There we go. And then we're going to do here. We're going to do down back down 2 block. Cool. Go. Now, if you look at Nina's down back 3 here, +4 on hit, that's amazing. Biggest block -13, Kazuya's +13. It's a free launcher every time you block this. Now, not every character can do this to Nina. This is pretty Kazuya specific. Maybe 1 or 2 other characters got a launcher for it. But this right here is, and obviously I don't know the optimal Kazuya combo, but you're getting launched for this. And if you're on a wall stage, obviously there's walls on this stage, but the walls are very far apart. This will end up doing a lot of damage, and just for a single low. And this is Nina's most used low. This is like her main low she wants to use most of the time in most matchups. So it really changes how you want to really play this matchup. It does. This becomes a very risky thing to do on Kazuya. So, because of this, the alternative would be to use down 2 against Kazuya. So if you look at down 2, -12 instead of 13. Now in this situation, Kazuya can no longer go for this. Right, this won't hit anymore, it's 1 frame short. However, Wild Rising 4 will hit, which is a much smaller punish than before. Much smaller punish than before. We'll take that. We'll take that. We'll take that. So, in terms of risk reward, I'm not saying to never use down back 3 against Kazuya. However, using down 2 a lot more will definitely help you be less at risk when you're going for your offense against Kazuya. So always keep that in mind. If you're losing a lot because he's blocking your lows, it's probably because you're using down back 3 a little bit too much and he's getting a lot of damage for it. So just be mindful of that. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is in terms of offense for Nina is the side step 1, specifically the side step 1 loops. You know, as Nina players, we all love this, right? If you haven't checked out my side step 1 loop guides, it's on the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go check that out if you guys still are not up to date with the side step pressure for Nina. But in regards to the side step loops, I want you guys to be very mindful because 1, as you should know, the side step loops are not real. So you looping this over and over, this is not real, right? We know that keeping yourself safe like this is real and it's plus, so it can't be interrupted, right? That's fine. However, if you go for the side step 1 loops against Kazuya, it's very dangerous simply because he's very well known for his counter hit launcher, specifically down forward 2. So if I show you what that looks like, if you get too carried away, first of all, Kazuya players, when they feel like there's a gap or they want to interrupt in between something, a lot of the time they go for down forward 2, simply because on counter hit it's a free launcher into a lot of damage and it's quick. So if you look at this is very quick, 14 frame launcher on counter hit, right? So if I was to go for the side step loop like this, I get counter hit and now I'm eating a bunch of damage simply because I wanted to steal some frames. So be very careful with this, very careful. Against Kazuya, sometimes it's better to just stay safe. Stay safe, keep yourself plus, whatever you gotta do. You know, if he goes for that, he gets launched, right? Keep your pressure, whatever you gotta do. Because looping the side step 1 cancels, honestly, sometimes it's not worth it against Kazuya. You end up losing way too much health going for that. It's just a Nova extension that doesn't always need to happen. Not saying you shouldn't use it at all. Of course, it depends on how your opponent's playing throughout the match. However, just be mindful that this is a possibility and it's not something you can abuse against Kazuya at all. Another thing Kazuya players like to interrupt with as well, outside of down forward 2, is also 1-1-2 is also very common. So this 1-1-2 is very common, right? So that's another thing that will also beat your side step 1 cancels. Obviously, you guys just saw me do side step 4, which is a way to counter that, right? However, side step 1 cancels into 1 will lose. So be mindful of that. The next thing I want to talk about is using homing attacks against Kazuya. Now, this is very important because Mishima players in general, when you're applying pressure up close, they tend to like to sidestep into electric to go for a potential launch, or just in general, they like to use side steps to realign themselves to go for electrics. Now, to avoid that from happening, you want to use your homing attacks to stop them from sidestepping in the first place. And you can set that type of stuff up in general. You can set it up. Specifically, I want to talk about 1+2 specifically, simply because it's quicker than 3+4. I want to focus on 1+2 and also back 2-2, right? Also back 2-2. Now, I'll show you an example. If I was to do full circle forward 1 into down forward 1, for example, at this range, right? This is something that happens a lot. Not specifically in this situation all the time, but just in general, you're applying pressure and your jabs just get sidestepped into launched. This is something that happens a lot with Mishimas and Kazuya specifically. So to avoid stuff like that, instead of autopiloting into down forward 1 or a jab or whatever it would be, you go for your homing attack, simply to just stop that approach. Stop that approach. You do this enough times, it will start keeping your opponent in check. They'll start to be like, okay, I can't just keep sidestepping here. I have to find a new approach. I might have to power crush now. I might have to sit and wait. I might have to do something else that is not sidestepping into electrical time. So it's just something else to condition your opponent, not allowing them to have their way all the time with movement. Like Mishima players love using movement. They love wave dashing and stepping, and this applies to Reina, this applies to Jin, all these characters. You want to really check them with homing attacks, otherwise they'll just have their way. Again, I talked about back 2. This also works, you know. Back 2 is really good. You know, the only issue is back 2 can whiff sometimes. Yeah, the first hit whiff there, which can be a bit scary. Maybe a button might slip through the cracks there. Yeah, that whiffed. But if I do the second one, it's really range dependent. If I'm a bit closer, I guess that whiff. If I'm further out, yeah, this range dependent. I'm guessing other situation if I was to do this, but then if I was to do this, now it won't whiff. So if you're close enough, back 2 won't whiff, will be fine. But if you're too far away, the safer bet is 1+2 because that's better range. Doesn't do as much damage as back 2 too, but you know, back to 2 will give you 30 damage there because the first 2 hits are natural, and yeah, this will give you 20 damage. Full 20 damage versus 30 damage, still good damage regardless. You just want to keep them in check, right? Keep in mind back 2/2s are high, so if they're doing a move that low profiles and goes low, if they're ducking in general, this now becomes a bit more of a risk, right? Whereas 1+2 is mid, so you don't have to worry about that risk at all, which is why I prioritize 1+2 over back 2/2, simply because there's no risk, right? So yeah. Now we're going to be looking at the defensive side of things. Now this is just something I want to mention really quickly because it's just something I've just started doing versus Kazuya, and that is at round start. Yes, only applies at, well, not only applies at round start, but happens a lot at round start. At round start against Kazuya, this is the perfect range for Kazuya players to use down 1+2. Now let me show you what that move looks like for Kazuya. Second. Okay, my bad, do that again. This right here. What I've realized through playing a lot of ranked games in general is at round start, a lot of Kazuya like beginning the round with down 1+2 like this, because it's like it starts you at the perfect range to use it. So a lot of them start off the round like this. So when I play against Kazuya nowadays, this is the first thing I look for. All I do is walk backwards at round start, simply because nothing else will really reach apart from, I guess, forward 2, but then if I'm blocking, I'll block it, I won't get hit. Any low, the only low that's going to hit me at that range, unless he wave dashes first into hell sweep or something like that, the only low that will actually hit me is down 1+2. So at this range, it's actually reactable if you're looking out for it, right? And you'll be able to block. Round start, fight, and then you're just literally walking backwards, wait for the animation, and blocking. And you'll get a punish. This could be your first knockdown. This could be your first knockdown into winning the game. Could be your first knockdown into winning the game, right? So this usually just applies for a lot of Kazuya players that play a bit more careless and a bit more risky, because really and truly there's no reason to start off the round like that. If you're a Kazuya player, you don't have to go for that, but it's just something I've realized a lot of Kazuya players tend to do when they play. So it's something I've taken a note of, and I've just figured out something against it. So make sure you apply that to your game. All right, now the final thing I want to talk about is the neutral, right? When you're simply a neutral, right? You want to play around forward 2 range when you're playing against Kazuya. You want to obviously attempt to make this whiff, which is not the easiest thing because it has a lot of range, tracks both ways, so it's hard to make it whiff in terms of stepping it. It's steppable, but very hard to step. When I say make it whiff, I mean more so making it whiff in terms of it doesn't actually reach you. And you can do that by using her Hashida step, right? You can do that. It's not the easiest thing to do. You know, a good Kazuya player is simply just going to space themselves well. However, I'm saying make the attempt. Make the attempt to make them whiff, right? Now, if you are able to make them whiff, you want to always have this whiff punish on your mind, right? You want either down back 3+4, always on your mind for whiff punish for this every time. Either that, or you want back 1+4. See? Or you want back 1+4 as whiff punish. Either or, just make sure you're gonna get a launch punish on this, right? Something like this can't be punished with, let's say for example, back 1-4 or anything else in general. It's just not good enough. Gal Swift punish that like that, not good enough, right? Not good enough. You want to get a full launch for that, so always have that in mind when you're playing against Kazuya. If they go for like wave dashes, for example, like if I can wave dash, right? If they're going for like wave dashes and they're closing the gap, that is now when you're in the mix. In this situation, you're now in the mix. But in the other situation where they're throwing out forward 4-2, you want to attempt to make that whiff. You can't really contest wave dashing with your movement. It simply covers too much ground. So at that point, you're basically in the mix versus Kazuya. But anywhere else, just make sure you're spacing yourself at that 4-2 range. You get very good with punishes on it, man. But yeah, that pretty much sums up the matchup guide for Kazuya. These are some of the things I've learned. I'll most likely do even more in-depth guides in the future. By the way, I'm also working on something currently for everyone that wants to support me further. And yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it because it's not set in stone, but I've got some things in the works for you guys. However, that is the first matchup guide done. We've crossed Kazuya out of the list. Hope you guys enjoyed that, man. Let me know what you guys think. If you have any more questions about this matchup in particular, let me know down in the comments. I'll reply to you guys' comments as well. You guys know I'm always reading the comments in general. And yeah, what matchup do you guys want me to do next? Let me know. Let me know. Appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one, man.